Okay, good deal. So as Todd mentioned, my name is Bernadette Vincent, and been in nephrology for about 25 years, in healthcare over 40, and started as a nurse, really just admiring those nephrology nurses who used to visit my hospital, where I was critical care nurse. And from there, I just fell in love with the notion of what we could possibly do for patients with kidney disease. But my story started very, very, very young. I was in my own little church where my incredible insight to this was a family, a big family, who all suddenly, one after the other, had to go to Houston to get kidney care. I didn't understand that. I lived in Louisiana. Why did that family have to do that? Why were they suddenly dying and at age where I didn't think young people died? And they all had a certain illness. Now I know that to be polycystic kidney disease, but in any event, there was no genetic planning. There was no understanding of what they needed to do. And by the way, access to care was hard. So 25 years later, in that same community, after a Hurricane Rita, I was able to build a center there, and it still stands today. So why do I care about people with kidney disease? It's in my roots, it's in my ethnicity, it's in everything that is in my being of healthcare. And I hope you'll join me in the same march toward improvement. Now, all those things we talked about this morning are important, where we are on boards and how we act and what we do for our organizations. But when we represent Satellite Healthcare, we talk about a long-standing sponsor of NKF ever since our founder, Dr. Norm Copeland, started Satellite. And we do continue to fight the good fight against kidney disease. I'm joined by many here at Satellite Healthcare and also online. I'd just like you guys to just do a quick stand up, just to show the support. Satellite as a main sponsor. And also online, if you can show. I think it's important for you guys to know we mean what we say, and we're going to continue doing that. Now, I don't have to wonder as a sponsor if our contributions make a difference. That's important to us, right? We all want to do this. Here's some facts you ought to know about. NKF sponsors community events that involve screenings to kidney disease and hypertension. They educate the broader community on a regular basis. NKF sponsors medical programs, and that's like the annual Spring Medical Symposium and Journal Club. Also, NKF dedicates time to educate employer groups, large and small organizations, and they talk to them about kidney awareness and transplants. And have you seen the website? I mean, really, it's incredible. Meal planning, health maintenance, all kinds of other patient-centered supportive information is on that website. And they really care about kidney disease and also the experience that people go through who have kidney disease. NKF's Authors Luncheon, check this out, it's the largest literary event of its kind in the Bay Area. This allows passionate people who care about literature, but who also enjoy looking and learning about health and disease processes, including people with kidney disease. This is so important because they support education, advocacy, and research because of that effort. And we thank you for that very much. We also see that NKF—
Ronnie Easton joined the meeting.
How cool is that? We welcome you. NKF also cares about dismantling structural inequities in kidney care. And this happens to be not just with kidney care, but also in transplantation. So personally, I do have loved ones who are in my life who are able to live their best lives because they do have chronic kidney disease. And I refer to them as people who should know more about NKF. So every single birthday, that's what we talk about and make sure they know there's a lifeline for them if they only reach out. Some of my Satellite team members have also worked years with NKF in roles like corporate medical chairs, and also did the medical symposium, authors luncheon on the planning committees. There are all kinds of reasons. Also the CRN leadership as well. Just so you know, Patty is hard to turn down. So that's another reason. But I'm here because people with kidney disease need our support. We are glad to celebrate giving this is National Kidney Month, and also that there are many ways that we can provide our support through awareness and also prevention and treatment. Kidney disease is no joke. It's a difficult disease to manage. But with our help and our support, at least there's some hope for the people we serve. Now, as for satellite, we're going to continue supporting NKF and the kidney community. It's part of our mission, making lives better for those living with kidney disease. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bernadette. And I think all of you can see, through Bernadette's passionate engagement with Kidney Foundation, it's full of people just like that really care about making a difference. And that being said, there's two very special people that work with the NKF that I'd like to ask to come forward, and that is Amy Hewitt, the Executive Director of NKF, and Patty McCormick, Senior Director of Programs. So, welcome. Can I get that one?
You gonna join me now, Patty? Only if you need to. Okay, so I always apologize when I start to speak at these events because I tend to get very enthusiastic and speak very quickly. So I'm going to try and just pace myself here. Yeah. But I thought I would start us off today by sharing NKF's new mission statement. I will have to say that I think this is one of the first public opportunities that we've had to do this. So I'm excited to share this with you, and I'll read it for you now. The National Kidney Foundation is revolutionizing the fight to save lives by eliminating preventable kidney disease, accelerating innovation for the dignity of the patient experience, and dismantling structural inequities in kidney care, dialysis, and transplantation. There are so many things that resonate so deeply with me on this, eliminating preventable disease, the dignity of the patient experience, addressing the inequities that exist around kidney disease. And then I think it really clearly frames our why, that we exist to save lives. And I think that that's at the heart of what we do. And Wilson is here as an example of that. Today, in addition to our why, Patty and I will share a little bit more about the who we serve and the how we are working to improve outcomes. I'm sorry, I'm just going to go off my notes here. Okay, so this slide, I just want to give you a perspective on the area that we cover. Our newly united region, which united last year, combines Southern California and Nevada, along with Northern California and the Pacific Northwest, and comprises about 16% of the US population. So with the at-risk CKD, with the ESRD, all of those prevalences following suit. So you can imagine we cover a very large population of the people that we serve. Notably, our region has the longest transplant wait list in the country. California alone has 18,000 plus people on it, which is the second state behind us on that is Texas. So you can imagine again, just how how many people we're trying to help. And then I think if you think about it, with 3,200 transplants that are happening a year in our region, and that we fall behind on the national average for living donation, as you can see, I think that there's a big challenge here, but a big opportunity. And I think clearly lots of untapped ways that we can serve. But when I see this, I think, what if we can change that? Imagine the lives that we can change. Like that's what this is about. So for me, clearly it's very motivating and inspiring. Kevin Longino told me, it was okay to cry as I present recently. So I'm going with that. But I think that this is what it's all about. This is, we're trying to change that. So I will tell you just a little bit about how we're trying to do that. Here are the strategic pillars that really define our regional objectives. It's our why. We came up with these with the guidance from our advisory board. We did some work to identify where we could really drive impact in our region and narrowed in on these areas. Increase early diagnosis, education, and treatment of CKD, maximizing quality of life for people on dialysis, and decrease the wait list in our region, the transplant wait list in our region. And I think we got a little bit sidetracked during the pandemic, but we are very much back on track. These pillars remain our guideposts, and I am super excited about the opportunities that we have in the year ahead. We are really ramping up our efforts, and Patty and I will share a little bit more about that now. So I would like to turn it over to my amazing colleague, Patty McCormick.
So Amy didn't mention, and I assume everybody knows, but just in case, she is a living donor, and her designated recipient, Wilson Du, is sitting in the front row. My heroes. Thank you, everyone, again, for making it today through the storm. I'm so impressed that people joined us after yesterday afternoon and the continued rain this morning, so welcome. This slide summarizes how we take our collective energy and put it to work. After 2 years of 100% virtual, the second half of 2022, we returned to in-person and hybrid events while holding on to virtual programming when it is still a fit. These numbers are from last year, and we continue to expand our reach with strong attendance across our programs. We're reaching the general community, patients, and care partners, as well as kidney health professionals. On the patient side, we delivered programs to more than 650 people with kidney disease, their loved ones, care partners, and community members on topics ranging from understanding the transplant wait list, mental health, and an annual 3-part nutrition and CKD series. We also had a great response to our Big Ask, Big Give programs that educate and share strategies on living donation, reaching more than 250 participants. And thanks to our partners at the Mexican Consulate in Fresno, we have reached hundreds of the Spanish-speaking community through Facebook Live views. I just want to pause here for a second. Our colleague Franco Reyna is online, and our other colleague Celine Coe, both online. They power the programs along with the rest of our team. Franco especially is spearheading that relationship with the Mexican Consulate. And I'm happy to say that, well, I'll talk a little bit more about that later. We've been thrilled to return to in-person, not only for some of the programs, but also for kidney walks and, of course, authors. We cannot do this work without partnership and support. And this slide brings home just how much of that we have. Our region's medical and transplant centers, along with many companies in the kidney space, have supported our programs and shared mission. It comes in the form of funding for sure, but equally so in volunteering to speak, meeting with our team to brainstorm program formats, picking up the phone when we call, and participating in working groups that power our ongoing initiatives. And we'll talk a little bit about those later. And these are a few of our key community partners. In order to have significant impact in communities most affected by health disparities, we're actively nurturing and growing the number of community-based organizations that we engage with. A couple of examples: at the end of February, we participated in the annual Hypertension Sunday, which is hosted by Samuel Merritt University's Ethnic Health Institute. Back in person for the first time in 3 years, 20 churches across the Bay Area offered blood pressure screenings and kidney health education as part of their Saturday or Sunday services. NKF volunteers, many of them satellite healthcare volunteers, and 2 public health interns helped this effort at several health fair locations. While with the Mexican Consulate, we have a long history of in-person kidney health screenings. With the pandemic, we moved to educational sessions, and as I talked about, we reached over 1,000 views on the Facebook Live. Other NKF teams around the country have engaged with their area's consulates, and NKF is now looking to scale this relationship to consulates across the country. There is much work to be done, and these partnerships are essential to our work. So what are we up to now? We have 2 initiatives moving ahead currently: ending disparities in CKD and transplants for all. I'm going to talk about our transplant-related topics and then pass it back to Amy. We're so fortunate to have a dedicated regional advisory board focused on our strategic objectives, despite the responsibilities, long days, and the intensity of the last 3 years.
Sushma Saravante. Join the meeting.
Good. Welcome. I do want to pause on that because I don't work directly with patients or in patient care, but I have been so impressed with my community, the friends in our community that do and have hung in with us through a really incredibly tough time. They serve on committees, they show up for virtual meetings, they show up for our live in-person events, they volunteer to speak. They have kept things going despite what I know to be a horrifically strenuous and stressful time, both for them professionally and personally. We're deeply grateful for that. The transplant working group was formed as a result of the work that our advisory board put together. Our team is on that. We have members on the transplant working group are from our regional advisory board, along with other experts we've recruited. As they said earlier, no one can say no to me, apparently. And we have support, investment, and participation from our national NKF team. These are the guiding priorities. To increase equity and access to transplant is the overarching goal. As part of that, yeah, exactly. As part of that, one of the goals is to increase living donation, apparently one person at a time. The bottom two priorities are actions we are taking. The Regional Stakeholder Summit planned for this fall will bring the dialysis and transplant professional and patient community together to identify any strategies that can be implemented to increase access to transplant, ease the patient and family burden as they navigate the system, and increase living donation. That effort will launch with a gathering at this year's American Transplant Congress at the beginning of June. And that meeting is now in planning phase with our partners at CareDx as our guide in the logistics and the working group focused on identifying and inviting key stakeholders. And the last priority list I'm happy to report launched just recently. So this effort comes under the priority to provide ongoing transplant education, and it has resulted in the Dialysis Team Transplant Education Program, which is a mouthful. Inspiration for this project came from an unexpected place. Last fall, we hosted a webinar on understanding the transplant waitlist. We had an expert speaker, Kevin DiCipolo from Stanford, and an excellent patient panel. This was targeted at patients. 350 people registered and over 120 attended the day of. Targeted to patients and care partners, we were surprised to see that almost 50% of the attendees were dialysis social workers. It was clear from that experience and the input from our transplant working group that through this project, NKF can help patients navigate the transplant system by educating dialysis professionals so that they can better support and advocate for their patients going through the process. This working group is made up of both dialysis and transplant professionals and patients from California, Texas, Tennessee, and the Pacific Northwest. We have 22 members plus NKF local and national staff. We're grateful to our chair, Emily Watson, Director of Social Work for Satellite Healthcare. I know several of our members are online, and I saw their names pop up. And to a person, they were enthusiastic. So we started to endeavor into the CE universal aspects of transplant as well as the nuances. Stay tuned for that. And I'm going to turn it back to Amy.
Thank you, Patty. I have to say, Patty talked about that meeting, the kickoff meeting last week. It was so inspiring. We had 20 professionals representing transplant, representing dialysis, representing all the stakeholders, and everybody started the meeting with sharing their why. And it was overwhelming. Again, it comes back to like, we are here to serve the patients, their loved ones, in this community. And I'm super excited to get that work started. It's going to be a pilot program that we hope will be launched nationally. And so we're excited that it's starting here and we're helping to make that happen. I also want to just take a quick moment to thank all of our team members who are here, our staff who traveled up Southern California, our board members who are here, Dr. Alvander, and those that are online. We couldn't do all of this without you. So as I mentioned earlier, this is really going to be a busy year for us. In addition to the legacy programs that Patty talked about in our transplant work, over the next year, we're also going to be focusing energies on addressing CKD in primary care. And we've started a work on our Ending Disparities in CKD Bay Area initiative, and we've just started those meetings this last February. So just to kind of give you a little bit of what the goals are around the Ending Disparities initiative, it will focus on developing a roadmap right here in the Bay Area that will guide regional healthcare leaders to a cultural shift in primary care, a shift towards increasing early diagnosis and management of CKD, especially in high-risk populations. So over the next year, stakeholders will work together to concrete recommendations and work together to bring some of you to inquire more about that, because we will certainly be reaching out to have you get involved. So just to give you an idea of who those stakeholders are, healthcare providers, health systems, FQHCs, payers, insurers, major employers, Medi-Cal, government, and academic institutions, and community-based organizations and foundations. Our work over this year will culminate in a summit next March, where we will inspire and engage leaders to review the scope of the problem, look at prevalence, testing, diagnosis, the impact of undiagnosed disease. Todd spoke to all those numbers earlier, and I pointed to them on that slide. Imagine if we can change that. And then what does it look like right now in our community? We'll address what we can do to improve. What are the barriers that are going to help us or that will kind of prevent us from making progress? Sorry. And then what are the strategies and solutions that we can try? It's really, just bringing leaders together and looking at those, let's take your best ideas and see if we can't bring them to life. And then helping to define how we will get there. I think it's a very exciting time for NKF and our region in particular. We are super energized by what the future holds. Anything else on that, Patty, that you want me to add before we go into our next?
People say, why are you so NKF?
All right, I think you're doing the intro.
Okay, so now it's my pleasure and honor to introduce Holly Micheletos. Holly is a friend. She's a friend, she's a mom, she's a therapist. And she takes all of those roles very seriously, but she has a wonderful, wonderful sense of humor that keeps her going day after day. Holly, please come up and join Amy for a conversation.
Do you want to sit? You good?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I was sort of surprised to see that picture with my kids.
So thank you, Holly, for doing this. When we did the walkthrough on this, it was hard to get through it without a dry eye, but
Yeah.
so thank you for allowing us to have this chat. Do you want to start by sharing a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Holly Micheletos, and I was raised down in the Monterey Peninsula and have been living in San Francisco since the early 90s. And I got married here in San Francisco, and I have two fine young men in my life that are in college now. And I'm also a marriage and family therapist and a recent kidney donor. This is my 6th month. I'm on my 6th month.
That's
so
awesome.
just
That's
6 months
awesome.
behind Amy.
So tell me what prompted that living donation. Tell me what the path was to that.
Well, my son, the one on the left there, Nick, is 21 and he was born with chronic kidney disease. It was a shock to all of us. They said he'd probably need a kidney by the time he was 12. And he just pretty much did really well until he was about 15. And then they said he was going to need a kidney. So we immediately went into testing mode and all that. And I'm not a match. My husband's not a match. And we reached out to our community, but then he got healthy again and we didn't need to do it. And so we kind of put it on hold. And then I joined the National Kidney Foundation. I can't remember, somehow through Patty, stuffing envelopes. And I went to the luncheon and got addicted. And then I was at the virtual luncheon and I was inspired by this woman who was on the video, Jane. And I was saying it just speaks to that, like see somebody like you kind of, that there was this older woman that was a donor. And so I just got inspired to re-up the process again. And I reached out to UCSF and said, I want to donate a kidney. I really was like a light switch went off. And I just said, someday someone will have to donate a kidney to keep him alive. He has like 25% of one kidney. The other one's already gone. The one he has is very small. Sorry. So someone's going to have to do it for him, right? And I can't be that person. So I thought, well, I should know what I'm asking someone to do for him.
Beautiful.
So that's how it
beautiful.
started.
Well, thank you for sharing. That makes 2 actual direct donors, living donors that came out of the author's lunch since we took that event
Oh,
virtual. Yeah,
nice.
so we can directly.
Amazing.
Let me ask this, what is your greatest hope as it relates to your donation?
Oh boy, that I helped somebody, I
Mhm.
guess. Really, I don't know who my recipient is. But I think, yeah, my greatest hope is just that they have a better life or extended life. And also now I'm inspired to kind of get the word out there, like you can do this too. So, to kind of let people know what that process is like, even if you're older, but that you can do this and it makes such a difference. So yeah, help somebody and then maybe be able to inspire some people.
So you haven't met the recipient of your.
No, I did send the little note that says I was open to meeting them or their family, but yeah, I haven't heard yet.
I don't think I asked you, this, but anything that you would say to them, or what do you think about that when you have the chance to meet them?
No, I honestly try not to hold on too much to that part of it because I just keep trying to focus on the energy that I put it out there.
Mhm.
Would it be amazing to meet somebody or their family members send a note? That would be amazing to know that you were helpful in some way. But I really try to hold on to just that process of like, you did this, you know what I mean? It's like picking up trash that isn't yours, right? It's like, you just did this. No one has to witness it.
Yeah, no, I get that. Did you have any concerns or fears as you were going through the process?
I guess just normal, probably health concerns. I
Mhm.
think probably just, wondering like, am I physically gonna be okay? Like, and then I talked to people that had been through the process, which really helps, right? Just to talk to people that are perfectly healthy. They're like, yeah, it's no big deal. It takes a couple weeks, but you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I remember too, going through the process that there was this, like, what if something happened along the way? Like what, I didn't want to be the one, like
Oh.
if that messed it up and I remember, and I think we talked about this, like I started driving my car more safely and,
Right.
I just wanted to protect this gift that I was giving and how much it meant. So, I think that there was a lot of that kind of apprehension that I had.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I did not want to get a cold or I cut back on my tequila, everything. I was really trying to stay in good shape.
That is oddly enough, one of the questions I get very often about the whole process. Like, can you still drink after?
Right.
It's not your liver that you're donating, but.
Right. But for some reason, you just feel better, you're just like, I'm not drinking.
Yeah. What has blown you away or surprised you in unexpected ways throughout the process?
Honestly, I think the response from other people, that's what gets me, is like, I tried to downplay it quite a bit. I mean, I told 2 people. I told my husband and I told my brother. And then it took me a year, almost 9 months to get approved. And it was only after I scheduled my transplant that I told my in-laws and my bestest girlfriends. And so I kind of kept it on the down low. And I'd say that what really surprises me is like when someone hugs me and says I did something special, like you just don't realize, like, hopefully I did, but yeah, I think that's the most surprising thing is when somebody says like,
Mhm.
you're a hero, or wow, you might have saved someone's life or something like that. Like you're not really ready for that.
Yeah.
And don't think about that part of it. And then when someone says something super nice, my niece said, wow, you're part of the solution. It was just so cute. I thought, oh, what a sweet. Yeah. It's not how I thought about it, you're part of the solution. And when she said that, and she's a younger person, I was just like, oh, I like to think that way, that's what a neat thing. So yeah, I'm surprised, I guess, at the response from other people and then how it really, that makes me react.
Yeah. Any aha moments? I remember there came a point where it's like, don't run marathons. Like my body is not like it's not running marathons. I'll just leave it at that. But
Right.
But I was really surprised at how it was capable of like giving this gift, and it surprised me that that I was able to do it, and just physically able to do it. And also, you know, like that I was resourced in all of those things. I think any aha moments for you?
Aha moments. No, I mean, I think I feel the same way, just like it's sometimes I forget that I donated a kidney, you know, I mean, I don't think of it. And then someone will say something or then I'll use it, you know, well, hey, I donated an organ, you know.
I know, you know, first class seats for life or something like that.
Right,
Yeah, okay.
right.
Clearly the ask for tummy tuck for, you know, transplants is not.
Right.
Still not
Yeah.
getting a good answer on that one. What would you say to someone considering living donation?
Gosh, I would just say out loud in this room, if anybody knows anybody that wants to talk about it, get my name and number from these two, because I will 100% speak to anyone. But I guess I would just say, you know, you can do it. It's become so much easier for the medical professionals, or I don't know, easier, but it's definitely one of those things where you think they know what they're doing and you feel safe. I felt totally safe and confident going in. I wasn't freaked out. Yeah. And I guess I would just say, you can do it. Right.
Yeah.
It's just, the more you talk, the more you, like with most things in life, right? The more you connect with someone who's been through that experience, then it gives you that confidence, like, oh, wow, I could do it. They did it. I could do it, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do any questions that anybody wants to ask of Holly?
This is probably the dumbest question
Oh.
I've ever asked. I'm gonna ask her something because I.
Yeah.
This is who you are, you and Amy are.
Aw.
By the way.
She's
We
supportive.
get to decide right or left kidney.
No.
I didn't, yeah. Oh,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I did not decide.
Repeat the question for people.
Oh, sorry. I asked, the question was, do we get to decide which kidney they choose?
No, my right kidney turns out had a little tiny stone in it, which fascinatingly enough had that same stone when I was tested when my son was 15, 6 years ago, but nothing's happened to it. It hasn't grown, hasn't changed. And they said, but because of that, we can go ahead and take that one and remove the stone before we give it to somebody else. So, and actually his right kidney is gone too. So we repaired him that way. We both lost our right kidney, but they decided, not me.
Oh, a fun fact, they typically like to take the left kidney because it has, and Dr. Alvander, you can expand on this, but there's longer, I think there's longer access. Yeah, the arteries or the veins or whatever.
I didn't know.
But with my transplant, they looked at the kidney function, and my left kidney functions better than my right, and they left me with my left kidney. So I will say, like, throughout the whole process, making sure that I was ultimately going to be healthy on the other side of this was top priority. And I had every confidence of that throughout the process. Yes, Patty.
What did your boys think?
Oh, what did her boys think was the question?
I think, I don't really know. I played it down quite a bit, I have to say. So I think that Nick, the one who's going to get a kidney, he'll every once in a while give me a side hug and say, thank you, Mom.
Oh.
So I know he knows, but Patty was my amazing angel and literally was there the day I got out of the surgery, and I was home in 2 days. So it was just so fast, you know, it was, yeah, she was my kidney doula. Exactly. And she was an amazing one. I would recommend her services.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was home in 72 hours, and then walking in the neighborhood. And so I think that the younger one was, I don't know that he Googled it, but he definitely had some questions for me, like, are you going to be okay, Mom? You know, that kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to be fine, of course. So, but I suppose when they're a little bit older, they might be impressed a little bit more.
Holly, first, thanks for your talk. It's really inspirational. You said that when you, I guess, applied,
Yes.
that you wanted to give a kidney from that point until you actually donated, it was 9 months, I believe.
Yeah.
And, could you
October to
maybe
June.
talk a little bit about that approval process? And what was most challenging about the approval process taking 9 months?
Yeah, I think you have to be really patient and you have to recognize that. And I don't know if it has to do with COVID or whatnot, but just sort of the kinds of things you have to do, right? Lots of body testing, urine testing, bowel testing, hearts, everything. And so it's, if you have just a normal life and you can't go in, you know, it's like, oh, we can do this next month. Oh, we can do this next month. And I think trying to stay healthy and paying attention, that is something you're paying attention to. You're like, you don't want to break a bone. You don't want to have any issues. So it was a long time to wait for sure. But yeah, you're stuck in the medical professionals calendar as well as your calendar. So that was kind of challenging, but other than that it was pretty simple. You get emotional, which is fascinating. Like, you know, you go in and put your arm out for blood and they take 14 vials. You're like, whoa, wow. And then all of a sudden it kind of hits you like, oh, I might be doing something a little different today, you know? So yeah, it was a long process. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, one more question.
So you had the surgery 6 months ago, so then that 9-month timeframe put you into what was going on with the pandemic. Did you have to get boosted or anything?
I was
boosted.
beyond
Were you beyond
I was already up to snuff, I think, on everything. I think I got my last booster that summer and then I donated in September. So I started the process literally the day of the luncheon, texted Patty and said, I'm giving a kidney, just so you know. And then that Monday I called UCSF and then started all my testing. And then I think that last booster came out maybe that spring or something. So then I had every shot you could have anyway at that point. And then my son was going off to college. So I got approved in June. I told them in August, you can have September. You need a 3-week window where they can say, we've got a match for you. I don't know who my match was. So the registry found my match. So then in September, so I contacted in August, I said, I'm ready. You can have September 1st. So then I have to be available for 3 weeks. And then that was in August and they called me and said, your pre-op is September 7th. Your surgery is September 14th. Anything can happen between now and then, but just stay healthy.
Be careful.
Right, be careful for me. And then you didn't know because I don't know who the recipient was. And the only thing they would tell me was that it was leaving the hospital. That was the only information I got. So it wasn't going right into the kid next to me. It was just leaving Parnassus. So, yeah.
Well,
What?
we do have to wrap it up really
Oh,
quick.
sorry.
So
Okay, I'll be quick.
So, question, building on Adam's question as a donor, in order to expand the pool, we have to expand the donors that can. So, with donors of economics, you've gone through the process. Like, is there any words of wisdom or thought or advice to us as folks in the healthcare industry? How do we help make the process more accessible to those that maybe are looking all the time and looking at all our day?
Mhm.
And we come to all these things, it's different, right? So I think more.
I think that's a great question. Julie's going to talk a little bit about it, but I think the Living Donor Circle of Excellence, if more employers could adopt that as a, to give, to make it an something that's viable for people to consider. And I think, that there's, I think that there's lots of other ways I think that we can make it easier for patients, and don't get me started on it. I think that it's something that we can make that more accessible to people, more broadly. Yeah. So this is something that it's a kind of a side project for us that I want to work on, but I think it's something that needs to be done. So
Last question.
Oh, I think Julie's like giving me
okay.
that. We can talk to Gopa.
Okay, I'll be here after.
So thank you so much,
Okay,
Holly.
yeah.
It's good. That was great. Thank you, Holly. That was actually a perfect transition. So thank you. Great. I'm good on camera, Christina. I'm good. Okay. So hi again. As I mentioned earlier, I'm Julie. You know, I don't even have to say the transition for those on Zoom. The last question was, what are the barriers and the financial barriers? So jumping right into our, the Living Donor Circle of Excellence, actually, okay. I was actually just in Washington, DC, earlier this month, with, Dr. Ken Supa, Amy, Alexandra Harrison Fluxman, who's on, Zoom, and, several other people. And one of the things we were advocating for when we met with our legislators, was a Living Donor Protection Act. So that Living Donor Protection Act protects anyone who donates from being discriminated against, for insurance purposes, or, they have a pre-existing condition now. They've gone through a process that makes them the most healthy person. They know they're healthy. They're just missing a kidney. So we are lucky in California to have, a statewide Donor Protection Act. But one of the things that we've been trying to do is, advocate nationally, to get it passed, across the country. And then in addition, we were also, because we're short on time, I'm not going to go totally into it, but we were also advocating for more funding for the NIH and CDC, for innovation and research and education, as well as making it more accessible for people to have dialysis at home and have a choice. They're going to go in a clinic, or if they're more rural and they can't get to a clinic and it's more of an inconvenience, they can, dialyze at home. So the Living Donor Protection Act, also is another program that we have. It's an employer recognition program from this American Society of Transplantation that celebrates organizations who provide salary support to living donors. The Circle of Excellence celebrates employers that help eliminate barriers, and some of those barriers being lost wages during recovery and surgery. So as was mentioned, like maternity leave, it would fall into one of those types of programs. I'm gonna skip this for time. I wanted to just recognize these employers. We had 9 people, 9 companies sign up in the past since January. And I know Outset's here, so I just wanted to recognize them as a new member. I think they just joined in the past couple weeks, so thank you for that. And if anyone's interested, your companies can become a part of the Circle of Excellence. Just reach out to us. The next thing I just want to touch on is employee engagement, community, and social events. So this breakfast has traditionally been very walk focused and authors focused. So we had to leave some of that in there for those who have been part of it before. But I wanted to just bring up the Drive for Dialysis. So that's a really great way for your employees to support the kidney community. What it is we will come and we supply bags that have bags and everything to assemble these care packages for people on dialysis. So it's water bottles. You can add in blankets. We've had people add in blankets. There's coloring books and pens thing to do. There's pill cases and nutrition information, recipes, a whole bunch of stuff. So what we do is we can come and assemble these care packages with your company. And it's a great way for if you're having a conference, or even if you just want employee engagement opportunity, and then we'll deliver those to local dialysis patients. And they are always so grateful when that's the best part, is when we deliver them. Yeah. In California this week alone, we have 2 happening, 2 drives happening this week. So it's wonderful, and it's a great program.
And Julie,
yes,
the other thing that this works really well for is if you're kicking off a walk team at your company, this is a great way to kind of kick it off and get people really engaged and excited about why they would fundraise or walk for the Kidney Foundation, and it helps just kind of make that connection to the cause. So NKF is really willing to help walk anyone through that if you'd like to, put a toe in the water with this activity to have a big impact.
And just for those at home, Todd just said it's a great way to get involved in the walk and kind of kick things off for your walk and show your employees what you're doing it's for. So let me see. I can't see it online. If you want to comment, who has participated in the kidney walk? Yay, like the whole room, almost the whole room. If you haven't, Joe is here to tell you a little bit about it. And if you're ready to participate for this year, please welcome Joe Grubbs. He is our development manager. and knows everything Kidney Walk.
I think I get out Todd from the phone.
I know, talk to him.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Let me jump on here. I'll sit, I guess. Thanks for taking the time out this morning and joining us. I know the weather was not great. But yeah, I'm Joe Grubbs. For those of you that we have not met, I'm the development manager and I am focused mainly on the walks. I do help out with authors in some of our other events, but walks my primary focus. We have 2 walks. We have one in Northern California and we have one in Southern California. So what is the Kidney Walk? The Kidney Walk is held in 70 communities across the country, and it's our largest awareness campaign that we do at the NKF. And this is how we raise money to fight kidney disease. So it's really important, not just in California and within our region, but also just to get everyone involved across the country as much as we can. So the California walks are coming back. We are in person again. We had our first year back last year. We had a very rainy Northern California walk, unfortunately, in September. And we had a great sunny walk in Southern California in October. The first change you'll see really quick is that we are moving our walk in terms of location and time. This was originally a spring event prior to the pandemic. So we are trying to move that back to the spring. So we are in a quick turnaround this year, very, very quick turnaround from September to June. And we are moving to PayPal Park in San Jose for a number of reasons. Number one being, we are combining 3 walks from 2019. So we were trying to combine these walks into a venue that was going to get people excited and get people to come out from different parts of the Bay Area. Also, our data really suggested that if we only had 1 walk, the best place to move it was out towards Silicon Valley, because we had a lot of large teams and fundraisers that were out there that didn't quite participate last year in San Francisco. So that's a big reason for our move there. We have a bigger goal this year, $300,000, so we could use all the support we can get, whether that's walk teams, which I'll speak to really quick, or corporate sponsorship. And then we have the amazing Southern California walk, once again at Marina Green Park in Long Beach. It is right down on the water, right by the Queen Mary. It's a beautiful route. It's a really beautiful day. So even if you can't make it because you're up in Northern California, find a way to get, some of your employees that might be in Southern California to start a team, come out and join us. Or make a donation. Or make a donation. Yes, any of those, any of the above. I wanted to take a quick moment because once again, Satellite Healthcare is going to be our presenting sponsor. Bravo, bravo. Year over year, they're our presenting sponsor, and honestly, we can't get a lot of what we get done without them. So thank you very much. And these were our past sponsors for 2022 for Northern California. So as you can see, we got a lot of faces from a lot of these companies right here. And then our Southern California sponsors are right here as well. You see some crossover and then some more regionally specific. Thank you to all these sponsors as well. So yes. How do you become a Kidney Walk sponsor? There are folders out on all these tables. There's some materials in there that has our sponsorship deck. It highlights all the levels that we have for our walks. Northern California is going to look a little different this year because we are at PayPal Park. So with that in mind, we're offering different opportunities for sponsors to either have their logo on the scoreboard, have their logo on all the monitors, because we're going to be walking through the concourse this year. So all those television monitors could have your company logo there as well. We're doing incentives for teams where we're going to do corporate suites. So they're going to get a suite within the stadium if a team reaches a certain level. So we're really pushing hard. But yes, we can use sponsors. We've had a couple come back on. Horizon has come back. Satellite is back, obviously. We believe EY is about to come back. So we have a lot of sponsors so far, but we need as many as we can get. So please look that stuff over. And then this is the flip side. If you can't sponsor, that's okay. We understand, but you can always start a corporate team. And I am here to help guide you through that, whether that's you or someone else at your company that you introduced me to. I can walk you through that because a lot of companies do have donation matching, which is huge. So if you have a large team and there's donation matching, we're doubling whatever is there, which is awesome. And usually corporate teams drive out larger teams, means more walkers, more fundraising, means more money going into the community where we need it. And then last but not least, you can of course volunteer at the walk. You can walk and volunteer. You can come early. We have a nice like 6 a.m. shift if you want to be there. To volunteer for that and then just jump into the walk at 10. But yes, there are a ton of ways to get involved. And we also have our walk committees. So we have our ELC, which everyone listed right here. I want to thank you all being involved. Most of you are in the room right now, but thank you for joining the ELC again this year. We do have a little bit of time left. If anyone wants to join the Northern California ELC, jump on board. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your dedication and your time. And with that, I am done. I hope I was fast enough. Christine is going to talk to you about authors. Again, thanks for the time, everybody.
Thank you. I will keep this short and sweet since I know we're running a bit behind. We have the 35th annual authors luncheon coming up this year. Incredibly excited. So 34 years of history. It is the Bay Area's premier literary event. We welcome authors, best-selling authors from all over, and we're very, very excited to share the lineup as soon as we have that secured for this year. So this year's event, save the date, please. It'll be on October 28th. It's a Saturday. We'll be returning to San Francisco's Palace Hotel. If you didn't attend last year, you'll absolutely love it this year. And we hope that you will all join us. Okay. So moving to our past corporate partners, this is a list of all of our partners who have supported us in the past. Last year, I'd like to give a special shout out, Satellite Healthcare, our Author Circle sponsor, Union Bank as well, Otska as a generous partner. We hope that you will consider joining us this year again. And we do want to grow this list. Yeah. So ways to support. You can become an Authors Luncheon sponsor. We have sponsorships available, tables available, and ticketing packages. So please share the word. Our website is it's up now, but it'll be launched with new information the next few weeks. You can also volunteer at the authors event. We have a number of volunteer opportunities day of the event and also before the event and after the event. So if you're interested, please reach out to me. These packets that are on the table, you'll find out more information about them, about opportunities, and you'll also have my contact information in there. And finally, join a committee. We have two committees. We have a planning committee for Authors Luncheon, and we also have an executive leadership committee. We're looking to grow. And if you're interested in joining either, please reach out to me. Be happy to discuss further. So I want to take a moment to thank our 2023 Planning Committee, our 2022 and 2023 Planning Committee. Sheila Gordon is joining us today. She's our committee chair. And we are so blessed to have her. And then our Executive Leadership Committee. I know that some of these folks are on Zoom, some of them are in the room. If you're in here, do you mind raising your hand? Jeremy in here, Pete. Thank you so much. We simply cannot do the work that we do without you. And as Amy mentioned, this event changes lives. So thank you for your dedication and your support.
And Christina, if you don't mind my saying, another way you can do this. So you saw Union Bank on there. Satellite Healthcare brought a former sponsor who is one of our vendors, relationships, a banker, to this table to do it. They've been supporting NKF ever since. Yes. You can do the same. You have people that you use, whether they're paper suppliers or, tchotchkes that you got to buy for your company, whoever those vendors are, they can become sponsors too.
Yes. So you'll see on the table, there are a number of books from last year's authors. Please feel free to grab one, take one home, and we'll keep you informed about this year's event. Thank you so much.
Great. So we're wrapping things up, getting into the final stretch here. And, this is an opportunity to kind of bring it all together and think about everything we heard today. And as you can see, kidney disease impacts all of us in one way or another, whether we know it or don't. And there are many ways that the National Kidney Foundation is helping in this fight, and many ways, big and small, that all of us can be involved. So from being a living donor, probably the biggest gift of life, all the way to, fundraising on a walk team or bringing someone new to the table for author's lunch. There's a lot of ways to get involved. This is a QR code that you see on the screen, and this is a direct connect to our very own Julie Hemmett. That, as was said, the NKF will walk you through. If you just you think you might want to be involved, or you think you have a question, or there's something, you'd like to talk about, use the QR code or reach out to the NKF staff, and they're really there to handhold through the whole process. But as we saw, there's a lot of ways to be involved, and this is an opportunity to think about, the great speech experience that we heard from Holly, and to think about how we can get involved. And I'd like to just ask anyone to raise their hand or raise their hand on the chat and share maybe an idea they have, or how they might get involved this year, or re-engage in a program or an activity. And this is an opportunity to kind of join the fight. So anyone want to share, or online, raise your hand on chat, how you may get involved this year? Kate, I know V4 CSL is already involved, but maybe speak to the walk.
Well, the idea of actually
I'm
getting
calling on.
vendors involved is awesome, right? We spend lots of money on folks who print materials and do stuff, and it's for them. I think, getting involved a little bit and we expand it, it'll make such a big difference. I think that's definitely something that I want to bring to the table with all the vendors that we use on a daily basis.
And just adding to that, if you have someone that you think would be a good contact, I know it's always hard to reach out and ask someone for money, even though I don't have a problem doing that, but it can be hard. And the nice thing is, if you just give the point of contact name and email to the Kidney Foundation, they follow up, and they'll do all the legwork. It's bringing the people to the table who might be interested, engaged. So, thank you for sharing that and letting me
It's a great idea.
call on you.
Why didn't we do that before?
Yeah. all those legal
Any other thoughts or ideas or ways to get engaged? Anyone motivated to sign up for the living donor list today? Just kidding. That's a big one, but
I want to thank Ken. He and I just were in DC together, and he was so fantastic. I think in terms of advocacy and other things and other ways to get involved, you are a wonderful example. I really appreciate you have the opportunity to talk with several of our state legislators, and it was fantastic.
And if you need a good motivational speaker too, I'm just volunteering you. Absolutely.
Another way to get involved.
yeah. And I think that is a good, Wilson has been great at previous companies where I've been coming in and speaking to the employees, sharing his experience, his whole journey, and people get very motivated behind the cause and joining a walk team or fundraising, after just learning more about kidney disease. Most of, our peers and people in the world don't understand what kidney disease is. And they often don't know they have it until they crash into dialysis or something else. And so, the NKF is really working to address that, but we can all be a part of it. Yes.
Yeah, just to say, attended the author's lunch this year, amazing event, and I'm Dr. Everyone, which you've done well on satellite. I think one of the big ways where I could help and seeing all council at satellite can help us. I think getting nephrologists involved too. I'd like to see more, nephrologists and events, and so I think we can get better engagement by
a great point. Thank you. And we're glad to have Dr. Albander here as well. Been very engaged, but I think that's a great suggestion. Others, ways to get involved? Yes, Patrice.
I think that hearing Holly and Amy share their stories, given that it's Kitty Month and Women's History Month, that to show the power that you have and to tell that story as many times as you can would motivate anybody.
Yeah, Sheila.
I just wanted to say from the volunteer side, although I have been many years on the staff side, this is very, very rewarding work. You will meet wonderful people who will become lifetime friends. You will feel so incredibly positive about every minute you spend donating for the Kidney Foundation, not just your financial resources, but your personal time. To hear that you were motivated to continue your journey to donate an organ from attending the author's luncheon, that was the thing that took you over the top. You know, what more could I want as a volunteer? It could be that impactful. So I just wanted to share with you my story. I've been involved for 34 years, and I encourage you, I hope you all have the same history with the NKF.
Thank you, Sheila. Very honored to have you as part of the NKF and that engagement over all the years. So I think, yeah, go ahead.
Comment. My name is Allison. This is my first breakfast, and I wasn't expecting to be so inspired by this breakfast. So thank you for having me. But my dad, I actually almost lost my father in November, partially due to kidney disease. And I just feel like the aftercare after such an intense experience is flawed. So I'm really excited to go home and talk to him about this foundation where he can get the education and just additional resources that he needs to kind of better take care of himself moving forward. So I just want to thank you guys for this presentation, and I look forward to definitely participating in the kidney walk with my work team as well as my family. So thank you.
Great. Yeah.
Just coming from a patient perspective is that, when I started dialysis, I felt completely alone. I was ashamed, and I didn't want to come out, and I felt that I didn't have any help. And although my family was around me, they didn't understand how I felt. It wasn't until my first kidney walk in April of 2017 where I didn't feel alone. So all the work that you all are doing right now is going to inspire other patients to do better. And you're going to make them feel that they're not alone. And that's important for them to stay in the fight. So thank you very much.
So I think those were great final comments to kind of wrap up our breakfast this morning. Thank you all on the phone for joining us, and hopefully you can hear the comments. I know it's a little bit challenging to have the two worlds and everything be heard and clear, but we're really fortunate to have all of you on the phone. And, you know, this is the year for us to really make great things happen. This is a Western region board and focused group, but it is having impact nationally. It's doing great things in this region, and all of us can be a part of that. And so I just invite you to think of new and exciting ways to be involved, big and small. And at a minimum, please come out for the kidney walk and join us this spring. So thank you, and have a great rest of the week, and stay dry. Have a good day, everyone. Yep.